So now you should be able to hear us. Thanks, Julie. Julie just let us know. Julie Bosley. Thank you, Julie.
That's right. We do have a live audience.
And Julie got the big shout-out last week, and she deserves every bit of it plus some for the Eldora hosting. So we went to Eldora, Rick, last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. And, boy, what a trip. Have you been out there?
I have. It's pretty amazing. I haven't been for the truck race. I used to go when I was driving for school. We would go to there. We go there, and we go to what was the King's Royal deal held up? What was that deal?
The Prelude to the Dream.
Yeah, the Prelude and all that. Yeah, that was there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool deal. Iowa. No, the other thing. Oh man, the big track in Iowa. The sprint cars run at. Oh man.
Oh, Knoxville. The Knoxville Nationals.
Knoxville, yeah. You used to go to Eldora and Knoxville.
Cool,
awesome.
Cool. We go to Eldora. I mean Knoxville, man, and you'd be nothing but cornfields, and all of a sudden there's 1 million people right in the middle of a cornfield having a big ass race. It was cool as hell. I mean, it really was.
That is exactly how we described going to Eldora. Is you pop up out the cornfield, and there's 8,000 campers, and 50,000 people.
That's it. That's it.
You know, the big question mark we had was how did these tracks, like when they started, there couldn't have been 100 people that even knew it existed. I mean, without internet, without all the globalization of news and stuff. I mean, how in the world did they get the word out? It had to be a very slow process for that. So kind of interesting.
Well, I know, like the King's Royal at Knoxville. I mean, that was the World Outlaws. That was their big deal. Now, before the World Outlaws, you get back like in the early '90s.
Mm-hmm.
That's when Skold sponsored them. That's when I got to go to a lot of those guys' races, and it was just such a big deal. But it's like any track, all these little short tracks all across the country. If you get some kind of little niche and you have some kind of big deal happen, like sprint cars, they kind of took off there in the '80s. With that traveling series,
yep.
And then that kind of became their Daytona. That and Eldora, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way it works.
Well, Sherwin, you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Let me do it. You know what? And I didn't do my sound check, which I need to do.
Do a quick sound check.
Yep. That level looks good. Rick, can you give us something?
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Perfect. That looks good. I'm going to drop it just a hair, and I can adjust on the fly. Everything looks good there. Sherwin, you ready to go?
Yeah, give test.
Yeah.
PTM test.
I had already got you while you were just talking. That's
all right,
perfect.
Cool.
Okay, Brent Jones, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. We're about to get started here.
Katie Mast just retweeted.
Awesome.
Is that your daughter, Rick?
Who is it?
Katie.
Okay, yes, she is. Yes,
all
she is.
right.
Awesome.
I got twin daughters getting ready to start third year of college.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
And they're home right now, getting ready to go back.
Fantastic. Where at? Where do they go?
Sarah goes to University of Virginia, and Katie goes to James Madison University.
Oh, wow.
That's fantastic. You got a couple smart girls there.
I tell you what.
I do. They take after me.
I tell you what.
All right. Well, let's get this thing started. Sure,
we're going to go silent for about 20 seconds, Rick, and we'll be right back.
It may not be silent. The Skype ones usually go silent.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes do, sometimes don't. You'll hear me.
I'm a professional.
BS. Well, we're not, so here goes nothing.
Okay.
We're recording right now. The PETM podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. Go to patreon.com/PETM and join the What You Drinking Club for as little as $1 a month and get that free koozie, y'all. Best part is, every cent in 2017, we're donating that to sponsoring drivers. So join the PETM posse today and be a part of the sport you love. The show this week is brought to you by our official sponsors at the $5 and up per month level. Y'all hang in there with me. Catherine Kingston, Ashley Stang, Jeffrey Whitler, Mark Wiley, Craig Smulders, Rick Hammersher, Lori Sutton, Mick Rose, Tony Salt, Colby McClam, Eric Kepner, Ryan Kiefer, Marion Levesque, Patrick Cleary, Jeff Brown, Harry Bolzania, and Robert Keplinger. Also welcome new patron Jason Elliott. Let's do this, y'all. Welcome, yo! That's right. This is a Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 108 for Thursday, August 3rd. I put August 8th. I'm an idiot. It's August 3rd. It's 2017. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace. I'm joining the PTM Podcast studio with Pregame Engineer Andrew Shorn. What's up, dude?
Hey, summertime. We did 2 shows in a row in the studio. That feels like a good thing.
No kidding. As much as we've had issues being in the same place at the same time lately.
No kidding. Work and pleasure travel has been a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
How freaking cool is the guest we have tonight?
I'll tell you what, as we say, I'm super excited. We've been chit-chatting for the last, 10, 12 minutes.
Fanboying a little bit.
15
probably.
minutes, 30 minutes, who knows, on the pre-show here. But, y'all, you might remember him from PETM 101 because we talked about the number 1 driver. He's from the 80s to the early aughts. He was in 364 races in the Cup Series, 9 wins in the Xfinity Series, and he was a stunt double for old Rowdy Burns. He's the Rowdy Burns in Days of Thunder. It's Mr. Rick Mast. Rick, how's it going?
Hey, guys, how we doing? One thing I need to clear up here before we get started, are y'all regulated by the FCC?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. So, all right, well, that's good. That's good to know. That's good to know.
Y'all, this is the kind of show it's going to be.
It might get a little sideways tonight, y'all.
We're going to have a blast. No,
we're not going to steal anybody's content, so YouTube's not going to take us down.
Right.
And iTunes doesn't really care what you say as long as you don't put iTunes down.
Right. So,
Sweet.
Yeah. We don't have to report to nobody but the PTM posse, and they are rowdier than than we are. That's for sure. After hanging out with them a few times, Rick, how's it going? Tell the folks what you're up to and everything.
Well, right now I was trying to eat supper, but I had to stop eating supper because you guys called. So that's got me a little bit grouchy. But I'm going to work through it, guys. Just for you guys, I'm going to work through it.
He's going to make his way
Well,
through.
we certainly appreciate it. Yeah, you eat dinner like a traditional Southern farmer. The sun is down, the work is done. Now it's time to eat.
Get your butt to bed.
Well, the problem is my wife decided she's going to go back and teach. She's been raising a baby since 1983, and now her precious twin daughters, the last of the crew, have gone off to college. She needed something to do, so she decided to go back teaching. So she's been at the school fixing up her room the last week, it seems like, and she's been getting home late every night, and I'm the one suffering because of the late meals. And it's kind of got my schedule off a little bit.
I got you.
Oh, love it, man. And you already, you talked about your daughters there. We talked in the pre-show. You got some smart ones there. Does that take after old Poppy or what?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're good looking. They're smart. They're just like their dad. I mean, both of them third year in college, and our son, as you know, our son's in Atlanta working for the Atlanta Braves. So everything's good. I mean, they've all kind of took everything they could from me and went on out in the world.
Love it.
Well, at least it's a good thing you're humble. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm humble. I'm real humble.
Well, we start the show off the same way every time. Rick, what you drinking today?
Well, to be honest with you, I just had a water with this crush mixer you put in it, like orange crush, grape crush.
Okay.
I just tried one of those yesterday. It's a little tiny pack of powder you put in there, man, and it really zings. But, weekend starts tomorrow. This is still Thursday. Weekend doesn't start till tomorrow, guys, for me. You got to remember, I've just turned 60 years of age, so, I have a lot of experience in a lot of things, and you got to learn how to, how to ebb and flow with the drinking. Let's put it that way.
Well, Sherwin, we have not figured that out quite yet. So tell the PTM posse what you drinking on today.
What? I'll say what you made me. I'll just say, okay. All right, I've got a local product beer, a Sweetwater IPA, but it's like the goofy tropical one or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Going coastal with
like
some pineapple
stuff in it.
Fruity. Somebody's going to call me a fruitcake over drinking this beer, but it's not a fruitcake kind of beer.
I like it. It's that's a tasty one. So
what did you mix up in this fancy glass for us?
Well, so our esteemed producer, the Frizz 11, my wife, she showed up the other day. She's like, look at these cool Moscow Mule cups that I just got. So I'm going to go get some ginger beer, and I'm going to go get some lime juice and stuff, and let's make Moscow Mules. I'm like, well, Moscow Mule's okay, but the old Kentucky Mule, that's where it's at. So poured us a little bit of bourbon in this sucker here, and drinking on that. So having a blast there. It's episode.
Let me tell you something, guys. You haven't lived until you get the moose glasses. Remember, what was it? Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation.
Yes, sir.
With Randy Quaid and Chevy Chase. Remember drinking the eggnog out of the moose glasses?
Oh, hell yeah.
So I have downstairs.
You have some of that.
I have a koozie that fits over your beer and stuff that is exactly that, branded, like with the tag on it and everything from the movie. Yeah. I think it was either my sister or my wife who got it for me, and I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. So, Rick, I'm going to pull out that one for the next show and show everybody on the YouTube here what's going on there. But, yeah, that thing's fantastic. If you can find it online, it is totally worth the buy, whatever it costs. It's episode number 108, Sherwin. So
I can think of at least 1-8 worth talking about, but I bet you have several.
So here's the crazy thing. I mean, how many times can we talk about Dale Jr.? right? On the 88 show, we were all up in that. We know about Dale Jr. I mean, 291 races and 17 wins in that 8 car. How about this, though? Joe Weatherly, 110 races, so less than half the races, and 20 wins in the 8 car.
Wow, I didn't realize that he was that prolific.
Yeah. So he was born in 1922, totaled up 25 wins over his career. Cup champion in 62 and 63, 3 AMA Grand National champions, 2 NASCAR modified champions. And Rick, in the pre-show, you gave us his
partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah, and a partridge in a pear tree. You gave us his nickname. Tell the folks what that is.
Well, I think it was Clown Prince.
Clown Prince.
Call him Clown Prince.
Clown Prince, known for his...
Yeah, he was. I guess he's one of those guys that seemed like everybody liked. Everybody must have been kind of a jovial, joking type of guy, you know. And obviously could drive a race car, you know, but left the world a little bit early, like some of those guys did in that era.
Yeah. He, one of the stories that I had read that, I mean, I just got a kick out of this. He once took practice laps dressed as Peter Pan, just because.
Just why not?
Rick, you ever done anything crazy on dress-wise or otherwise, and before a race or during practice or anything?
No, not really dress-wise. We sacrificed a chicken one time.
Did you do it Major League style with a KC?
Well, we had went through a stretch of, it's like 5 or 6 races, and everything you could imagine went wrong. Everything you could think of went wrong. So we go to New Hampshire, and race morning, I get to my car, and the guys are all laughing. I said, go look in the car. So I go look in the car, and there's a damn chicken in my seat, right? And a live chicken. I'm like, what's this? They said, well, Jackie, that was my motor coach driver. He stopped somewhere at a little farm that morning and brought a chicken, live chicken. And he brought it to the track, and they decided they're going to sacrifice that chicken to try to get the voodoo off of it, right? But before the chicken become fried chicken, our team owner Richard Jackson told guys, "You're not going to kill a chicken here in our garage stall. Take the damn chicken back to the chicken farm." So I guess that's what happened to the chicken. I don't know.
I can't even talk.
Gotta give us a second.
That is fantastic. It reminds me of the locker room in Major League. We can't have a live chicken get killed. Is there something else we can do?
Everybody's ready to do it too. Richard was right. He was kind of offended. He didn't go for that.
You gotta let the boys be boys at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean, with racing, there's so many unanswered. I mean, superstition plays a big part of our sport, guys. I mean, it's just, it's like Ricky Rudd. I remember asking Ricky Rudd one time, is he superstitious, like all these other guys, with the green dollars and the green Sharpies and the $100 or $50 bills and all that. Ricky said, no, Lord, no, I'm not in like them guys. He said, of course, I don't walk under ladders or stuff like that, but I'm not superstitious like the rest of these guys. I'm like, Ricky, you just said you're superstitious.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you what happened one time. We were running Busch Series, and we had went through probably 3 or 4 races in one of those stretches and had trouble. And we were at Martinsville. And there's another team, I'm not going to say the name, there's another team that won 2 or 3 races there real quick, pretty easily. So my dad, he was still alive at the time and helping some. He goes and gets a banana, and he takes it and puts it down there and puts it in that guy's seat. Those guys, he just happened to know that particular bunch of guys were very, very superstitious. Well, they seen him, and they come running over there and took a banana, and I seen them down there fussing at my dad and all, and they went and threw it in the trash can. And I come back, he come back up. I said, "Dad, what are you doing?" He said, "Put a banana in that boy's seat." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, we got to get the damn monkey off our backs, Rick. We'd take a banana down there, put it in their seat. The monkey would go down there and get with them and leave us alone." I'm like, "Well, that's pretty smart." So we started that race. I think the third lap, he totaled his car. He knocked the front clip off of it. And then we did real well.
So you delivered a whole bunch of bananas next week.
Nanner.
Oh, my goodness.
I tell you, the superstitious stuff is like people talk about, your car and happy hour on Saturday evening. The car is perfect. I mean, you're going to win the race by lap. You get up Sunday morning and start the race, and you get lapped in 20 laps. And you're like, what is the deal? I mean, if you kind of equate it to marriage, your wife and you are very happy, and you go to sleep, and you wake up the next morning, she's mad at you about something, and you didn't do anything. You're just like, what? Hey, I'm going to tell you the weirdest thing that ever happened to me, guys, and this is documented. Ed Shull, the guy used to be a Gatorade rep. I was telling this story at Talladega one time, and the guys didn't believe it, and Ed Shull happened to be there. He was a Gatorade rep. He says, "Guys, I'm telling you, it's true because I witnessed it." We were at IRP one time running the Busch Grand National race, and it was like 20 laps to go, and I was leading the race, right? Come off turn 4, come up on a lap car. He moves down, motions me to the outside. We go in turn 1, and I don't know what he did, but he puts me in the wall, tears my car up. So I come in. The race is over, and we're sitting in the garage, and the front end's tore off the car, and we're trying to figure out how to put this bucket of bolts back up on the trailer. And about that time, here this woman comes walking up, looks just like Elvira. You've heard, you've seen Elvira, right?
Elvira, Oak Ridge Boy.
Tall, black-haired girl with eye makeup and a short dress, the whole deal. I mean, and she just walked up to us, never said a word. She had a handbag with her. Well, she turns around and puts her butt, kind of sits down on what's left of the front end of my car, and it takes her handbag and unzips it, pulls out this round vial, tube-like thing.
Oh, my gosh. Witchcraft.
All right, listen to me. All right, we're all sitting here, we're all pissed off anyhow and watching this. Now, what is this about? The lady pulls this vial out. All right, she screws the top off and pulls out one of these little things, like kids dip in and you blow, make bubbles.
Yeah.
She dipped this thing down in there and turned around, blew bubbles all over my car. She did it 3 times. She puts it all back together, puts it in her purse, gets up, starts walking away. She takes about 5 steps, turns around, and says, "Boys, your bad luck's over, nothing but good times down the road," and walks down the pits. All right? That was in 1990. And that's what I'm working real hard to try to get in the Cup, and I finally do in '91. Well, within 4 weeks after that deal, I'd won 2 races and signed my first deal with SCO to drive for Winston Cup.
Oh my gosh! And so you've been hunting down Elvira for 30 years.
When I told that story, people said, "You need to find her, Rick. She get her help some more." I said, "Hell no! She can give that to you. She can take it away just as easy."
That's wisdom right there.
The crazy stuff that goes on in our sport, guys. It's hard to believe.
I love it. You had mentioned a few minutes ago about going to sleep and then you wake up and your wife's mad at you. My wife will have dreams about me doing something stupid, and I mean she'll wake up. I mean it'll be 6 a.m. and it's hey, get up. What's going on? What the hell? Like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. Well, you did this in my dream. I'm like, well, that's on you.
Yeah. Listen, psycho.
Before we get too far down the road, which we already are, Sherwin, we got to take our hats off for Mr. Joe Weatherly, who we were talking about before. Hats off and raise the glasses. Passed away in 1964 at Riverside International Raceway, defending his title. We'll call it a head injury after the wreck. It was a pretty bad ordeal that he went through doing that. So. Not to take it down too much of a notch, but to close out that segment.
We always like to have a little bit of brevity and celebrate life lost too early when it's appropriate.
And he was defending his title, won in 62, 63. Here he is in 64, and unfortunate events. Who knows what would have happened and where he'd have been at that point. But that brings us to Ask PETM. We got some questions for Mr. Rick Mast here. Well, I mean, this one's pretty open-ended, and I'm sure you've been asked 1,000 times, and every person that you ever talk to. But tell us about, and this is from Bodacious, at Bodacious Beer. Tell us about pushing Harry Gant at Talladega.
Well, I'll tell you what I told the commentators. When I got out of the car, commentators, all the reporters, I just lied my ass off. I didn't push Harry. I didn't push him, So it was, they had, the problem with that race is we had a fast car, and I think it was the race where Kyle Brooks got hurt, and we all got in that mess back there and messed up the front end of my car. And anyhow, my guys, we lost the lap in the pits fixing it. And but anyway, I come down to the end, and Harry was leading the thing, and I was asked to give support if I could, So in those days, the cameras, you kind of knew where all the cameras were on the racetrack, so you kind of knew where you could push to where you couldn't. But anyhow, the best, a couple of the best parts of that story, when I got out of the car, all these reporters around me to ask me about pushing him, and I said, I didn't push him. I tapped him a couple times, but I didn't push him. Harry's up there in Winter Circle on national TV. Said, "Boy, I tell you what, if it hadn't been for old Rick push me, I'd have never made it back around here." And I thought, "Daggum, Harry, shut up." So the next week, I forget where we were. I was going down walking through the garage, and Harry hollers, "Rick, come here." I said, "What?" He said, "You had to lie as much this week as I did." I said, "No, I ain't lying no more." I said, "You up there telling them on TV what was going on?" He said, "Well, I didn't know you couldn't push help a man." But listen, guys, here's the best part of the deal. DW finishes second, right?
Yeah. Ooh.
All right, he finishes second. Well, first thing you know, I get called to the red truck. All right? So I go up to the red truck. I walk in there, there's Dick Beatty, which is, he ran everything then. There's DW and me. And I think Richard, my car owner, had to go. And I don't know who else was in there at the time. And DW is just raising holy hell about me pushing and trying to get Harry disqualified. Rick, you pushed Harry. I didn't push him. Rick, you pushed Harry. Damn it. No, Beatty, you got to disqualify Harry because Bass pushed him here, and that ain't legal. You can't do that. It just, I'm telling you, he was on a tirade. His face was red. He was spitting, just going on and on and on. And Beatty kept looking at me, and I'm sticking to my story. I didn't push him. I bumped him a couple of times. Hell, he probably started up and drove it down pit road. I don't know. This went on. I know it seemed like an eternity, guys, but it was probably 15 or 20 minutes. About that time, Jeff Hammond, which was DW's crew chief,
Yep.
stuck his head in the door. All right? He looks at Darrell. Darrell says, "What do you want, Hammond?" He said, "Darrell, we got a problem." "What kind of problem?" "We'll post it in tech inspection." "What's wrong?" "Well, their spoiler ain't right." He said, "What do you mean the spoiler ain't right?" "Well, the spoiler is sitting on 10 degrees. "You sure about that?" "Yeah, sure, yeah." At that time, I forget, we had a minimum spoiler angle you could run, but a lot of the guys sometimes would knock them down during the race, you know what I mean? But then you get checked after the race, and if you weren't right, you're disqualified, all right? So, obviously, Darrell's spoiler had been knocked down during the race. Well, Hammond steps out the door. Dick Beatty looks at Darrell and said, "Darrell, do you really think this boy here pushed old Harry?" Darrell sat there for just a few seconds. He says, "You know what? That damn old Harry's a hell of a driver, ain't he, guys? I'll see y'all next week." And out the door he went. So anyhow, Darrell got second that day. He finished. That's the best part of that story, though. That is absolutely.
I love it.
God's
for sure.
Truth.
The
funny.
Politics. the good old boy politics in the holler.
Well, and all these guys, Hammond and DW, they're so, I'll say, maybe not as much DW, but such clean-cut guys and stuff on the TV now, so you get the newer fans coming in. But then you start hearing these stories of the old days and what they used to do. That's just cool. That's what.
Hey, man, you did what you had to do to survive. I mean, the gray area of the rule book or whatever. I mean, the cheating thing, it wasn't cheating because everybody's doing the same thing. And when somebody get caught, well, everybody was caught, basically. Somebody might come up with something for a little while, a race or two, but the way it was in those days, there's just so much cross-pollination that, you just couldn't keep secrets on stuff like that.
Yeah.
And as this thing's evolved over the years, well, hell, the guys can't even, they can't even take a Sharpie and put a mark on the car now if they don't know about it. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I think that's why we've always been, at least recently, since we started doing our show and whatnot and interacting with folks on Twitter, been real flippant with the word cheater, but using it in a very loving way. Like one of the favorite books that I've read and Rusty's read about NASCAR was written by Tom Jensen called "Cheating." You know, the bad things good racers do in the pursuit of speed, and you know, Smokey Yunick is all up in that book. Ray Evernham would have been if it would have been published any later. You know.
Raymond Parks, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, you know, everybody was they're doing their best effort to find the gray spot in the rule book, and
you know that's a good segue. We won't ask you. How about we won't make you self deprecate or whatever it is. But what's one of the more creative things, Rick, that you've seen somebody do to skirt the rules a little bit?
Oh gosh, where do I start? Oh man, I you know what? Probably the weight thing was probably the neatest. That and beating the P&G machine, the weight thing where they drop pellets. You know, you drop weight out of the car once the race started.
Cal
that
Petty
was pretty
famously.
ingenious.
Yeah.
The deal that Junior used to do and have the wheels full of lead, you know, to go through inspection before the race and first stop. You know, get those wheels off of there.
Oh wow!
I mean, I've seen radios, fake radios. You know, we used to use. Well, they still use them, but they were made out of tungsten, and they were fake, and they were radios. I seen a helmet one time at Charlotte get caught. Guy had his open face helmet, had it sitting there in the seat or in the floorboard, like a lot of us would leave our helmets in the floorboard in the cars.
Yeah.
Well, the official seen something. He went to grab a helmet. We had to get help to get the helmet out of the car. It was poured full of lead. You know,
Now it weighed
you know,
90
all
pounds.
those years. I mean, you always heard he's getting the call. You hear fans even today when they'll fuss about if their driver loses to somebody. Well, Johnson's getting the call. He's getting the call. You've heard that many times, right? He's getting the call.
For sure.
And that used to be the big saying. He got the call. I finally one time. I don't know where we're at. Or I don't remember the circumstances, but I walked up in the truck. Bill Jr. was in there. I think Mike Hilton was in there, and I forget who else. And I said, guys, I'm going to write something down here. And I wrote down my cell number, and I wrote down my office number, and I wrote down my home number. I said, here, I want y'all to have this. They said, what's this for? I said, that's my numbers. They said, what? I said, I ain't ever got the damn call, and I want to make sure y'all've got my number, so if I ever get the call, you could get a hold of me, because I want to get the call sometime.
I love it.
I don't know that Billy Jr. appreciated that. I know Mike did, you know, but I never got the call. Let's put it that way. They had my numbers too, brother.
That's awesome.
Now here's the question: should you have gotten a call?
Well, yeah, if anybody deserved it, I deserved it, of course. Of course.
Love
I've got some fans here. You know what my first, this is off topic, but we're talking about Iowa, the Kings Royal and Eldora Speedway pre-show. The first year I did my fan club was 1994. Do you know that my number one state that had the most fans was the state of Iowa?
No kidding.
Second was Pennsylvania. Third was Virginia.
And you're from Virginia, ain't
you? Know, when we tallied it up at the end of the year, the biggest, largest majority of my fans were Iowa. Now, guys, y'all visited Iowa before, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
What is there? You've got Knoxville Speedway and cornfields.
Yep.
corn.
And evidently, you got Rick Mast fans too.
You know,
over the years that changed. I think Pennsylvania ended up always staying at number one. Virginia was always right in there, but I always thought that weird. But anyhow, we'll go back. I'm getting off subject here, guy. I get off on tangents sometimes, guys, when I'm not confined by time.
You just find your own two-track.
Hey, man, yeah, we're having fun is what it is. As long as we're having fun, then we're on
we know
topic.
we know that everybody listening to us is enjoying listening to you.
Absolutely.
Sweet. Sweet.
You know, next one, Tony Smith at Crew Chief Tony, and Sherwin, we'll have a shout out to him a little bit later in the show. But from our friends over at Lap Traffic Podcast, and thank them once again for all the hospitality and everything at Eldora. But he says, I love this question. What was the one guy you had no interest in seeing in your rearview mirror?
See, I poked him a little bit when he asked me this question because I assume.
Yeah, that's a tough one, guys, because you don't like to put down on anybody.
How about this? How about who you don't want to see in front of you? Because
there was one particular guy, and I won't mention his name, in the Busch Grand National Series, that it didn't matter what I was doing. It was like he had a lock on me. He was like a damn heat-seeking missile any time I was on the track. You know what I mean? He didn't have to be in the mirror. He could be in front of me. Hell, he could be in the garage in the trailer. He'd still get me somehow. You know? But, you know, everybody, honestly, to be serious, everybody drives you the way I did it. Everybody drove me the way I drove them, okay? Mm-hmm. And that's just the way it was in those days. When I come up through the dirt racing here locally, and it was rough in those days, man. You had to race and fight and just try to claw your way out. And, you know, you learn every time I'd move up a division through the dirt ranks and then into asphalt, late model sportsman, Busch Grand National, and into Whiston Cup. It's kind of like it's kind of like a dog marking his territory. And when you move up, you know, you'd be with the next set of guys running that are winning, and you're in there challenging them, and they would challenge you, okay? And you had to make your stand pretty quick, you know. If you didn't, you just get run all over all the time. So, you know, by the time I got to Cup, you know, I'd ran enough late model and Busch races that I'd done run against most of those guys anyhow, and everybody knew my driving style and what it was. So, you know, I'll tell you a funny story. We were at Lanier, Georgia one time in a Busch race, and old Spencer, we called him Onion Head, because, you know, Jimmy, he ain't got a hair on his head, right? That's a toupee he wears. And we were running a little 200-lap race, a little short track, and Houston was leading. I was running second. About halfway through the race, it started raining a little bit, so we really started running hard. I was trying to get by Houston, and that track, you had to run up against the wall on the high side. Well, Spencer had been in the pits and come back out behind me, and he kept trying to get by me, and finally he just hit me and spun me. You know, took me out of contention. So after the race, I'm mad as a wet hornet. I go down there and say, Spencer, what the hell did you wreck me for? I didn't wreck you. I said, Spencer, you come off the turn and run in my door and turn me. Why did you wreck me? Well, you come down on me. I said, Spencer, why did you wreck me? Well, I was trying to get a lap back. I said, Spencer, you're 63 damn laps out. Why are you trying to get a lap back? Why did you? Anyhow, the thing went downhill real quick, right? So finally, Jimmy, he looks at me and says, well, you going to try to whip my ass? I said, no. I says, I can't do that. I said, because you got 14 of your ugly brothers and all your sisters here. And I says, I'm not taking the ass whipping from you. I'm going to go get my gun. I'm going to blow your head off. So I took off with all intentions of going to my truck and getting my gun. I got maybe 30 or 40 feet away from him. He says, Mast. And I turned around and says, what? He shrugged his shoulders. He says, what the hell? You know, I'm like, okay, how am I going to deal with this? How do you deal with this? But you know something, from that moment forward, me and Jimmy become best racers on the track. His mama would fix me food. Everywhere we was at, she'd always fix food for everybody. She'd make sure she'd have me a plate. If there's any scuffles or anything going on, I look up and all Jimmy's brothers are right there behind me. You know what I mean?
I love it. Oh,
it was kind of weird. But anyhow, you know, to get back to the question, guys, the black number 3, you know, I think that intimidated a lot of people. He didn't me because he knew if he wrecked me, he was going to get wrecked back, you know. So it was that kind of way with me with most people, you know, you just kind of, it was old school way. If you're on Twitter, which you guys are, you have seen some of that stuff tweeted by Mark Martin and kind of how we were taught and how we taught guys. And, you know, but the other thing, too, I mean, I went to Daytona in 89 with Travis Carter with an unsponsored car and led to Daytona 500, man. It's me and Schrader and Earnhardt all day up front and ended up finishing 6th, you know, and that's what kind of put my name out there to everybody. And we ran the next 2 or 3 races because he didn't have much money, much sponsor, but we qualified good and run good in all these races. So I went and talked to every owner in the garage area. And I said, you know, I said, Rick, we'd like to have you, but how old are you? I'm 28. All right, well, come back and see us when you're 30. Huh. Every owner told me that, dude. Every owner in the garage area told me that.
How crazy
so I beat around in what I kept running the Busch Series full time and hopped in Cup cars what I could get in them. So sure enough, 2 years later, as soon as I turned 30, I had 3 offers.
Wow.
You know?
Wow, how times have changed.
See, here, and this goes, what I'm getting at is this goes to a little bit about what's going on in our sport now. As you know, and all the listeners know, a young man, when he's 20 years of age, from 20 to 30, look at the maturation process you go through, okay?
No kidding.
You become a lot more mature. All right, you get a bucket of bolts and pull up and down the East Coast all the time, racing. in those 10 years, well, then you learn what it really means to get knocked out of a race, or you really understand what it means to pick a fight with somebody, because or to retaliate, or to mark your territory. You learn what and if you got to retaliate, or there's a problem after the race, you learn what that really means, and it don't mean getting out and getting on Twitter and getting a bunch of reporters and yip-yapping or throwing your heat shield at somebody. That's not what it meant in those days.
Yeah.
So these guys now are 19, 20 years of age, coming in with goodles of talent and $1 million contracts, and they haven't had a chance to go through maturation process, And I think that hurts our sport a little bit. I'm not knocking the guys. I'm just knocking the circumstances, okay?
Yeah.
And I think that bothers. But anyhow, maybe we'll get to your next question.
Sure. So, yeah, and I know Mrs. Mast has put together probably a mean supper for you, so we want to make sure we get you out to that here.
It's cold, but now I ain't worried about it now.
Just throwing you on microwave. You were the winner of the inaugural pole at Indy in 1994. What was it like to race there for the first time?
I told somebody in an interview the other day when we were riding around in the parade lap, me and Earnhardt, and we were on the convertible, and we came off turn 4 and coming down the front stretch. You got stands on both sides, right? And I've never seen that many people in my life, and I guess Dale hadn't either. And he looks at me and says, "Rick, can you believe all these damn people are here to watch us?" Right? Look, here's the point of that, guys. The Intimidator was truly intimidated.
That's awesome.
I shouldn't say intimidated. The Intimidator was truly in awe.
Yeah.
Okay?
Wow. That's...
we went up there for that tire test the year before. There was 50,000 friggin' people there for that. There's more people there for that tire test than was for the race a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
And I remember we went to the tire test. We went out a couple of nights to eat dinner just in the restaurants, and, just being there by myself. And, of course, I'm not a prolific winner like a lot of those guys. I'm sitting there eating dinner, and everybody in the restaurant comes and gets my autograph, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, all right, we're here for a silly tire test. We're not even in this market. Our closest racetrack to that would have been Michigan, right? I mean, you're not even close to that market.
Yeah,
and all
these
people know me. This is going to be a heck of an event in a couple of years. Next year. This is going to be something. And it truly was. It's one of the grand spectacles, I guess, that I saw in my career.
Yeah, well, we heard some great stories about Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace fighting over who was going to lead the first lap and who was going to lead the qualifying lap and all that practice stuff. I'm sure you were there.
And that's all true too. That's all true.
Oh, that's funny. Wow.
He got his fender knocked in. They hit right there, the little narrow exit going out of that place. Well, hell, they rubbed their fenders together getting out the damn gate on that first practice to see who's going to be first out there. It was an amazing time. I'm just so thankful to have been part of it, man.
That's fantastic. With that, Rick, why don't we let you head on over to supper, have some time with the old lady and everything, and we can't thank you enough for joining us.
We can finish this at a later date.
Yeah. I hope. Hopefully, we haven't offended you at all, and you'd be willing to come back.
Good Lord,
hang out with us a little bit.
Nursing, guys.
Absolutely.
No. I appreciate it. Anytime, just feel free to call me. Unrestricted talk.
Tell folks where they can find you and interact with you and all that.
Well, I'm on Twitter. What am I? Rick Mast.
22.
Rick Mast 22. Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Yep, that's it.
I don't even know. Yeah, I got a Facebook page, but it's filled up. But Rick Mast 22. That's it. I tell you one thing, guys. I wish there's two things I wish I could have had in my career back in the '90s. Number one, I wish I knew about bump stops, big sway bars, and stiff rear springs like they're doing now. And number two, I wish they had Twitter then. I'm telling you, I'd have more fun with that Twitter thing if I could have it.
Yeah.
Larry McReynolds used to say, "Well, if you need to know something, what's going on in the garage, go find Mast. He'll tell you."
I love it.
That's awesome.
I love it. Rick,
I went up to Larry the year before he did the Fox thing. I said, "Larry, we're at Bristol. There at the motorhome lot." I said, "Larry, let me ask you something." He said, "What's that?" I said, "I ain't put it all together yet." He said, "What?" I said, "But I know it concerns you. It concerns Darrell Waltrip, it concerns Hammond, and it concerns Fox TV. And I don't know what it is yet, but I ain't put it all together. He looked at me just as funny, and he didn't say anything. He come to me right after the deal was announced. He said, Rick Mast, how the hell did you know that? He said, nobody knew about that. I said, well, I just, I got friends, baby. I got friends.
Yeah.
But anyhow, guys, it was a pleasure, and anytime you want me, give me a call.
Oh, man.
We really appreciate it, Rick.
Yeah. Can't thank you enough, and looking forward to continuing the conversation. You take care now.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Hope that dinner's tasty.
Man, Rick Mast, ladies and gentlemen, what can I say?
We're in the middle of recording, but it's kind of like, goodness gracious.
Yeah, debrief.
Obviously, we're having that guy back.
Right?
To finish the rest.
Holy crap.
Everybody who is paying attention, is going to listen later, is watching now. If we didn't get to your question, it's because we knew this was going to happen. We knew Rick Mast was going to be long-winded. We will try to coach him through your questions. Maybe in the fall or the off season, we can get him back. Obviously, fantastic guest, fantastic content. Mm-hmm. So don't worry. You will have an opportunity to have your interaction with Rick the next time that we get him on.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's ready to come back tomorrow. If we
You want to do another show tomorrow? Hell, we'll do it at 9 p.m. Let his dinner get cold again. Why not? Oh man, what a cool dude. I mean, just the people that we keep meeting and stuff. Sherwin, I don't know what else to say other than holy crap, this is so cool to be able to talk to these people, and I hope everybody, and I'm seeing the comments coming through on YouTube, but I hope everybody else is having as much fun as we are with talking with these folks.
That's the first time we've had a guest that was as long-winded as Rick is, where I just didn't care if I got to talk.
Oh, let this
I'm
guy
like looking
go.
at the speaker like it's him.
Right.
Like there he is. He's coming out of that place right there.
Oh, man. And before I move it off, if you're watching on YouTube, that number one skull car, what can I say?
And remember, you talked about sway bars and rear springs. Look how much tilt and ride height you got in that skull car.
Yeah. Well, Sherwin, I mean, y'all, if you turn off the podcast right now, I'm not going to be offended. But we've got some more stuff to talk about. We've got a whole ordeal, I guess. Like racing happened, and racing is fixing to happen. So I might as well talk about it. Yeah, and then we got to tear it down. Whoa, that's Sydney Lett. What's up, Sydney?
Hey.
Well, this is what happens when you try to do all that stuff live. That's the sound effect I was going for, was tearing it down. I want to tear down two things. No, because, well, I'll get to it in a minute. But because, or not because, but we had Xfinity at Iowa. Iowa. And speaking of Iowa, as Mr. Mast said there, I tell you what, man, that was one of the best races I've watched in a long time. And you and I were together. We we talked about it a bit before, or on the last podcast, because we did the show that night. But man, that was a blast, and had the Tailgate Mayor take over of the PETM podcast.
That was fun.
Which is funny because I always have. I mean, I have access to it. I can just open it and tweet from it. But
true.
Doing the takeover part where Sherwin was like, "All right."
They all noticed the difference.
I'm not going to tweet nothing, and you have to tweet everything. Like he made it I shouldn't say chore, but he made it a directive. Like, Rusty, you have to tweet now because I'm not going to tweet any of it. Like, I quit. It's your turn. Yeah. So that put some pressure on us.
I knew y'all would like it.
But anyway.
Rusty was funny.
Oh, I had a blast. I can only be, I can be funny in those little spurts, I guess. When it comes out to. But we had a whole race at Pocono. How about that, huh?
An entire
race at Pocono. I think I had texted you and I was like, man, every race can't be. I know NASCAR wants it to be, but every
can't
race
be a barn
can't
burner.
Be a barn burner is the word I was about to use, and now I'm kind of weirded out that we were going to use same kind of like 1 in 10,000 word there. But it can't be like that, and so it was kind of. I hate to say it because I mean Pocono's on the short list, man, but it was a little bland, huh?
It probably was. Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair to say.
I enjoyed it. It was a Sunday afternoon. I think it was raining or something here, or I'd already done all the chores outside that I had to do, and I came in, watched the race. I enjoyed myself, but I didn't.
I enjoyed it because of all the things that I've been trying to prolificate. Is that the right? I made that word up.
Prolificate.
Through the Twitter sphere.
Yep.
Is that, look, if you find ways to engage, the race doesn't, like the actual content of the race, it matters.
Yep.
Pay attention to it. because that's what we're here to do. We're here to watch the race, understand what's happening, and comment on it and have an opinion about it. But if you do the Twitter thing, and if you've got the scanner going and you're hearing your driver or any driver, or maybe you just listen to the radio because you like that better than the TV commentary, however you're doing it, just soak it up through 2 or 3 different media outlets because they're all readily available and it's easy. Everybody has a phone. Almost everybody has a computer and a television. Just try to pile some of that in.
Yeah.
And people like me are doing my absolute best to make your race experience even better because I'm tweet.
Yeah.
And so I end up finding myself in the position of going, wait, what happened in the race? And I'll stop and get up and I'll go, I'll rewind it. I'll watch it again. Oh, that's what caused the caution. And then I go back to the computer and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is what I saw.
Yeah.
And it's not BS or, exaggerative. This is what I saw.
So it's funny the old Jeffrey Whitler, he's getting on us on the YouTube there. Corn in the tri-oval, huh? I think he mentioned it in
corn.
That was one of the discussions.
Somebody said, "Why don't we plant corn down there?" And I said, "Wouldn't it be about the funniest thing you ever saw? If somebody hit a cornfield at 100 mile an hour in a stock car?"
Yeah. I love it.
That would be funny. It was Frank Villat, by the way, that was talking about that.
And that was in the during the Tailgate Mayor Takeover show.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, how about corn in the infield? Yeah, F it, let's do it.
F it, Daddy.
Love it. And let's see. There's a distinct different style between when Tailgate Mayor and Pregame Engineer are running the
for sure
the handles. So
Southern Wit has been awfully critical because I like to talk to the ladies, and you engage everyone.
Hashtag married life.
Yeah. Hashtag not
thing.
Married.
Right.
I like the ladies.
Oh, good times. Good times. Let's I don't know what else to say about Pocono other than Kyle Busch gets his win. Everybody knew it was going to happen at some point, and we were just kind of wondering when.
Truex and Kyle didn't wreck each other like they did at Indy, and so one of them was going to win.
Right, so Casey didn't get a win.
Yeah, Truex's team knew they couldn't beat Kyle on pure speed, so they tried some pit stuff. Mm-hmm. Didn't work, so Kyle won the race.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Right, and so that's what I mean about the whole thing. Every one of them can't be.
Kyle only has one racetrack left, by the way.
Yes, he does.
Before completing the Jeff Gordon.
Unfortunately
for Jeff Gordon, Kentucky rolled onto the schedule. So
true. That's not fair, really.
That's really not fair.
But which one is it?
That's a great question. It is Charlotte Motor Speedway of all places.
Oh, wow. If you would have given me 36 guesses, I believe in the bottom 30, or in the bottom 6, I should say. It would have taken me 30 guesses, what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So he's won 2 All-Star races, I believe, but no points-paying race at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the Cup car.
Wow. Well, I think that's kind of like the last hurdle for him at this point. Then,
it's going to be a tall hurdle because that racetrack is so weird,
very competitive and very.
It wouldn't shock me if his one Charlotte win ever is when we go Charlotte to the Roval.
Oh well,
well, sir,
interesting. Let's go ahead and why don't we go ahead and gas it up, man? Let's talk about next week. We've talked about last week. Not a ton to talk about, it seems like, but next week, dude, there is something to talk about. Going back to the Glen. We're going to turn
one
left
of our
and right,
racetracks
and ladies. I don't know what is there to say. I love this track. I love and not just because
so much fun.
Yeah, not just because it's a road course, but it's a fast road course. It's a super speedway of the road course. We only go to 2 in Cup, but it is a super speedway of the road courses.
Yeah, it's 20 to 25 mile an hour faster than Sonoma. Top speed is probably similar. I think there's one spot at Sonoma that they get about 160, but right before they get to the bus stop. They're booking.
Yeah,
They're trying to hit 170 mile an hour.
Yeah.
Before they start downshifting and hitting them brakes. But, Watkins Glen is so much fun. Like, it is very line sensitive. It tends to fit the road course ringers, if you will, better because it's a little bit less of a short track, should we say, like in Sonoma is. So I don't know. Wouldn't it be a whole lot of fun if AJ Allmendinger won and tripped everybody up? We're trying to have that season where we have 17 winners before we get to Richmond.
One day we're going to have that. We're going to
have it. At some point, it's going to happen.
The unfortunate part
is we're getting real close.
Yeah. That means Casey would probably be out.
Yeah, well, I mean, Joey and his cucumbered win are going to be out.
That doesn't even count. They don't even have that.
He basically doesn't have a win at this point. They got winning prize money and a trophy, but they hadn't got a win.
Yeah. So. I'm excited. The Glen is. I mean, that's also on the short bucket list.
And the location is fantastic. The Finger Lakes region of New York. It's their wine region. Like, there's a whole bevy of things we could do other than just watch races if we went up there. It's a little challenging to get to. We'd probably have to fly into Scranton Wilkes Bar and drive 2 hours, or fly into White Plains. Drive an hour or two. Like, it's okay. We'll do that. We've done it before.
Right. We just did.
We just did that.
As it turns out. And got
for a truck race.
Friends in low places is what I'll call it. And I hope they take that as a term of endearment.
Well, we love Garth.
Love everybody there. I guess, that means we have to do some picks, but I don't know what else to say about Watkins Glen at this point.
It's been hammered with patrons the last 2 years. Watkins Glen has been killing it with fans.
In a series that, you keep seeing these. Well, I'll tell you this much. Pocono actually looked like it had pretty good attendance.
Pocono's grandstands are always slammed. And you know what Junior said on his podcast? He said, I can't remember the last time I saw that many campers in turn one.
That's awesome. Especially considering, we just went there in June.
We were just there. Yeah. And people were bitching about, oh, my God, we race here, 6 weeks apart. It's like, yeah, but the people they're showing up.
Yep.
With the stuff.
Yep. So here's you know what? And to self-deprecate or self-incriminate or whatever a little bit, there's been times when Atlanta hasn't been all that great, but I'm still showing up.
True. So, that's where we get tripped up in that whole passion versus reality
right
thing.
Hell, there were people who said Eldora wasn't that great, and shoot,
if anybody said that, I'll punch them directly in the face.
I shouldn't say not that great. They were saying it didn't have the excitement in the finishes and in the drama. I'd read this, by the way. I saw this on Twitter. I saw this on there's a couple of people that wrote articles about it, and it's
clickbait.
I like what you're saying there. Yeah, clickbait, etc. You just go there, and it does not matter. You can race llamas around that thing, and I'm going to be enthralled.
Right. You could herd mini goats around that thing for 2 hours, and I would love it.
Yeah. So next year, llamas and mini goats and whatever else.
Llamas are crazy, by the
way. For now, it's time to do some picks. Let's go ahead and do that. Hello. All right, let's do some picks. Watkins Glen, dude. I can't even remember who I picked last week. Ain't no telling.
I know who I picked because I sounded like an absolute dumbass.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you were the
a-hole. I thought qualifying order was qualifying start.
I think I picked Joey.
I picked Kurt.
Yeah, I cannot remember where Joey finished or where Kurt finished, to be honest.
It was neither was great.
It wasn't worth it. Yeah.
Lap traffic kicked our asses.
All right. Hey, hats off to lap traffic. Oh, P.S. before we get there, super hats off to lap traffic. How about Crew Chief Tony sending us those Coke bottles, huh?
Oh, yeah. We'll have them in the PETM studio here before you know it. But, yeah, that's so cool. Go back and look for the picture in our media. I'll send another one. But, Tony and Brandon had some Coke bottles made up with our insignias on the label, which is cool as
Christmas. I'll tell you what, cool as Christmas is that Crew Chief Tony walks up. He goes, "Well, boys, I had to go down to where y'all live because Atlanta, Coke headquarters is 5 miles south, slightly west, but south of here." And he said, "Well, I had to figure it out with Atlanta, but here you go," and gives us 12-pack Coke bottles. And these Coca-Cola bottles have our names on them. Tailgate mayor, pregame engineer. They had Crew Chief Tony. They had Brandon, but
the professor.
The professor. But what was the other? The Sippy Cup one. What was Captain Sippy Cup?
Oh, yeah, we didn't get one of those. That's awesome.
That was so cool. You had those things printed up. Thank you so much to that was fantastic. Bring me Southern Whip. Bring me a damn book to Darlington in 4 weeks. We will do that. Absolutely. And looking forward to
we owe him
driving through Columbia, South Carolina there. Anyway, it's time for picks, Sherwin. Why don't you go ahead and throw her down?
So who do I think is going to win the Cup race at Watkins Glen?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that's a fantastic question.
It's a good question.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with...
You can defer, I guess. Go ahead.
You know what? I'm going to go with Martin Truex Jr.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Just solid everywhere, so might as well be solid here, right?
He won that Sonoma in the Michael Waltrip car, so that's what I'm going to do that.
I'm gonna go with Tony Stewart in the number 14. Wait.
Ooh.
I can't do that, I might as well keep up with the 14.
The car number you picked.
Going to keep up with the 14. We're going Clint Boyer this time, sir.
Well, sir, he also won at Sonoma in a Michael Waltrip racing car.
Sir. Yes, sir, he did.
So look at us.
Yep.
Tag team back again.
It's like we know something about NASCAR all the way up until these guys race and both those guys crash out in the first 12 laps.
Yeah.
But Watkins Glen always. I mean, this is like an hour and a half race too, y'all. So if you hadn't watched,
this is absolutely the shortest race on the circuit. Yeah. It is a 90 lap. I want to say 160-mile race, something on that
something
accord.
Crazy. So be sure to catch that.
They didn't add the boot like we all asked for, so it's going to be another quick one.
Yep.
The Xfinity race is 82 laps and the Cup race is 90. Yeah. It is the closest proximity between the two series.
Right. That brings us Stranger Stang, dude. Stranger Stang. All right.
What has she asked us now?
Oh, boy. All right, here we go.
Oh, crap.
And she said you have to answer all the questions. Don't piss her off this time.
Oh, yeah. She did ask three. There's like three different ones.
Yeah, so let's make sure we get it. If there was a holiday, named after you, or no, not named after, in honor of you, number one, what day would it be? Number two, what's the name of it? And number three, how would you make everyone celebrate? So those are the three. The day, what would it be called, and how would you make everybody celebrate? Sherman, you want to take this?
I feel like I get a pass on this because I already have.
I
already own. I already possess.
You possess a holiday?
So my birthday is on February 2nd.
That's true.
Which is Groundhog's Day.
Yep.
And clearly I am the reason why they named it Groundhog's Day. Regardless of what you think about a groundhog. So my holiday would be Groundhog's Day. You'd get the day off. That's the only difference between today and the future.
Yep.
And I would clearly make everyone celebrate by watching Groundhog Day.
I love it.
And you would have to drink as many beers as you could
every time
before
he wakes
you could
up
pass out.
Every time he wakes up?
Every time
or drink?
Put your little hands in mine at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
You got a pound beer. Like every time, just rip that thing open.
It's 6 a.m.
Or Fireball, whatever it is. You're having half a beer or a Fireball or like a half a cocktail. Every time that thing hits 6 o'clock and goes, put your little hand in mine.
Yeah.
And by the way, Andy McDowell, God bless her.
Oh, yeah.
That is a beautiful woman.
Oh, man. That's a great answer. You know, a lot of these times
I got lucky.
It always feels like whoever gets it first is dominating that question. So mine was. So here's the thing: January 1st. Oh no, because we have Martin Luther King Day. But from Martin Luther King, which is mid to late January,
19th usually. That Monday somewhere around
until what? Memorial Day.
Oh, no day off. Yeah,
no day off. So Rusty Day is going to be March 1st. We'll call it March 1st.
Get it midway between.
Yeah.
Give
let's
us a
get
day off.
Well, let's put it this way. Let's not put a day because that could be Saturday.
How about the Friday that's most close to St. Patty's Day?
Okay.
That feels like a good midway point.
I dig that. I dig that real good. So yeah. Through peer pressure or otherwise, yeah, it's gonna be the Friday that involves or is closest to St. Patty's Day.
That used to be when we would go to Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yes, sir. It was. I didn't have a good answer on what you're supposed to do. I mean, you drink. That's what you. I mean, it's a day off.
Just get hammered.
Yeah. What do you do? Yeah, just get hammered. That's exactly right. So, to answer your questions, it would be whatever Friday is closest to St. Patty's Day. What would it be called? Absolutely, it would be called Rusty Day. Because I mean, I'm not trying to get somber.
Rusty-faced.
I'm not. Yeah. I'm not trying to get somber here, but they say, you die twice. The first time is when your body stops breathing. The second time is the last time anyone ever says your name, right?
Oh, shit.
Right, yeah, that's... I got Sherwin to cuss. So, you die twice. Well, if there's Rusty Day, then I never die. I'm immortal. So
I like it.
So, Rusty Day.
Rusty is risen.
That's right. Yeah, right. Yeah, Rusty is risen. Time to drink, boys and girls. And you better drink. Number 3, how would you make everybody celebrate? You better damn drink. Is how it comes down to.
I mean,
so
fuck.
Cheers, or F words, or whatever else.
Got an F-U-G out there.
Yep. Yeah, it was F-U-G for sure. Y'all, it's about time to close this out, Sherwin.
Holy cow. Rick Mast.
He's going to be back. He's going to be back.
That guy was awesome.
That was a blast. Holy, how much fun was it to talk to Rick Mast? And
can you imagine how much fun he was when he was our age?
Oh, I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine. I think
he probably put a squirrel in somebody's back pocket.
No doubt.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he sacrificed a damn chicken.
They did. They made a movie about that. They did it before. I don't even.
Oh, I love it. Y'all, this has been a blast as always. You know where to find us at PTM Podcast on Twitter, on the Instagram, on Facebook, everything else. You know where to find me. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Walls at Tailgate Mayor.
And I am Andrew Sherwin at Pregame Engineer.
We will talk to y'all next week for sure.
God almighty.
Woo, too much fun, y'all. Catch you later. Skoo! What's up, y'all?
What's up, y'all?
Holy cow.
How freaking cool was that?
Oh, man, Rick Mast. Unbelievable. Lori, good night. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Good to talk to you, as always. By the way, we didn't talk about this. Lori, saved somebody's life at the track.
That's true.
That happened.
Yeah, dude went man down, and Lori was all up in that deal.
Yeah. Let's see. I kind of cut that short, so let me see. Fade out. Let's see if that works.
Fade.
Oh, perfect. Out. Y'all, how about Rick Mast, huh? Unbelievable. You never know what you're going to get with a guest coming on, and I'm not saying that there's never been a bad guest. There's just been guests that have just own it, I guess. You think of somebody like Gordon Perkle, who came on. I mean, he just knows. He just does his thing.
He's in the zone.
Yeah. So I don't know what to say. Fantastic guy, awesome time. I got to do some work here, Sherman. So you go ahead and tell the people what's going on and whatever.
Yeah. So what day next week are we gonna do? I got to figure out who we're gonna have on because I think I have it. I have stuff, but I got to figure out
who. No telling. We'll figure it out.
All right. Well, I mean, I got to know the day before I can get the gals.
You know what's funny is sitting here typing, because I do a track number on iTunes, and I'm like, it's number 108. Holy crap!
Yeah.
So Rick Mast, y'all. What can I say? Let's close it out with that.
Well, clearly we should get Ricky at some point.
Yeah, let's
Talk
do
some
that. Let's do that.
bravarinos.
Yes, sir. We'll probably let's see the title of this stuff for the comments. Former driver Rick Mast joins the boys to talk racing, rivalries, and chicken sacrifices.
That's awesome.
That was the stories with these guys. I mean, shoot, this should be a 4-hour
Dude,
podcast.
sometimes these guys are like that little toy where you just turn that crank and then you just cut it loose.
Oh yeah,
And it just
yeah.
does
And it's
awesome
gone.
stuff.
See you later.
Like that's what
Yeah.
Rick was. You don't want to interrupt a guy that's that entertaining.
No, too
without
much fun.
Without
too much
prompts.
fun.
Like
Yeah.
he just was that entertaining.
Hope y'all enjoyed it. Let's shut her down at this point, y'all. It was a blast. What can I say? Y'all have fun. We'll catch you next week at some point.
Skew!
Peace.